and the Super Tank Pro, which I've owned them for a while already, and they are my go-to power banks whenever I'm traveling around, as I use them to juice up my gadgets on the go. However, in today's video, we are not going to talk about these two things, but instead we're going to be focusing on this thing. This is the Zendure Passport 3, which is the successor to the Passport 2 Pro. Now, it has the same dimensions and the same weight as its predecessor, albeit with a bit of style change. Now, as you can see right over here, I picked the blue color model because blue is kind of like my favorite color. And as you turn around the light, you can actually see that there is a gradient effect happening right over here, which looks pretty cool. And on the left side here, you do actually find the switches in blue as well. And the casing here is now a transparent case where you can look into the internals of the charger if you're geeky like me. Now, you do get the standard international travel prongs here. So you do get a 3-pin UK prong, you get the US prong, and finally you get the 2-pin EU prong if that's what you want to use it as well. Turning to the right side of the charger, you do find a USB-C port that charges up to 61 watts over USB PD. It also supports PPS charging up to 45 watts and some other fast charging standards that you can refer to at Zendure's website. Now at the bottom here, this is where it is different from the Passport 2 Pro, because instead of 3 full-size USB ports, you are getting 3 USB-C ports and a full-size USB ports, which all these 4 ports share a power of 15 watts maximum. So you might think that that is pretty limited, but I think it makes a lot of sense for such a small brick right over here, because think about it, the main charging port is going to be used to charge your laptop or maybe your smartphone, and the bottom part here, you're probably just going to use it to charge your smartwatch or some other low-powered devices like your AirPods Pro. Now, of course, if you happen to use both ports at the same time, the main USB-C port will be lowered down to 45 watts, and while the bottom ports will be maxed at 15 watts. So that's still pretty makes sense, and it goes up to 60 watts of power in total. Now, what about this inputs here? You are going to plug in some other devices, of course, with this kind of plug. Zendure claims that you can go up to 2,500 watts of load. This is something that's really good, and you do need to bring a separate converter because this is already the travel adapter you need to pack inside your bag. And now let's do a test on the Passport 3. So as you can see over here, we have my power meter and the Zendure Super Tank Pro, which is what we are going to be charging later. And I have 2 USB-C cables connected to the Passport 3. The main USB-C port is connected with a 100 watt USB-C to C cable, and the 15 watt port is connected with a USB-C to Lightning port. Now, what's interesting right over here is that even when I have the USB-C Lightning cable inserted into the Passport 3, it doesn't consume any power at all, which is kind of different from some USB PD chargers and power banks that I've tested, because usually when I have this cable inserted, it will sip a bit of power. I'm not sure why. It's probably powering the chip right inside the Lightning port, but it doesn't happen on the Passport 3, which is actually really good, because sometimes you just want to leave your cable, your Lightning cable plugged in, and you want to charge the other device at full speed. This doesn't do that, right? This doesn't happen. So now let's charge up the Super Tank Pro, right? Let's do it with this USB-C cable, right? And now we should be seeing the wattage go up. All right, and we are now at 32.5. And on the Zendure Super Tank Pro, there's a power meter right here, by the way. So we are now at 57.3 watts of power, while the power meter here is showing 60.5 watts, which is kind of accurate to what Zendure is claiming there. All right, we have hit 61 watts, so that's the maximum peak power that it can go. So in terms of the power efficiency, it is definitely there. And since the Super Tank Pro is already charged to 95%, so you do expect some wattage drops right over here, which is kind of normal. All right, and now let's charge up my iPhone. We're just going to plug in it and see whether it operates at 45 and 15 watts. All right, so let's do it right now. And it is charging. Now we should see a reset on the power meter right now. All right, so we are stabilizing now at 40, 51 watts, 53. It should go up in a bit to reflect that a more power consumption. So I would say that overall it's quite close to what Zendure has claimed, because since the Super Tank Pro already has up to 95% of power, so this is now charging at 45 watts. And as you can see on the power meter of the Super Tank Pro, it is charging at 41.4 watts or higher. Yeah, so it's pretty accurate on what Zendure has claimed on the Passport 3, and I think this is really convenient if you intend to just bring one adapter to route it all to charge your laptop or to charge your smartphone. And now let's do one final test with the Zendure Passport 3. So Zendure says that the Passport 3 can power appliances up to 2,500 watts, which is actually pretty insane if you ask me for such a size. And we are going to find out by connecting my induction cooker to the Passport 3 and see whether that works, because this induction cooker can consume as high as 2,200 watts when turned on. So now let's find out whether it can power it up properly. Moment of truth, I hope there's no power trips right after that. Ooh, okay, and note that it is charging my Super Tank Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro at the same time. And let's power up the induction cooker and choose the boil mode. All right, let's boil some soup, you know. All right, so let's take a look at the power meter right now. All right, so as we can see right over here, for a plug this small, it supports up to 2,500 watts, and we are already at 1,700, 800 watts, and it's still going on. It is charging both the Super Tank Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro at the same time. This is actually pretty insane. So yeah, the Zendure Passport 3 works as advertised, and you can definitely safely buy this travel adapter if you intend to bring an induction cooker with you while traveling. So there you have it. This has been a quick test and a review of the Zendure Passport 3, which is set to be unveiled in CES 2022, and Zendure should have a project page going up soon on Indiegogo, so definitely stay tuned to their social pages for that. As for now, that's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more tech videos on KLGadgetTV, so stay subscribed to us and give us a thumbs up if you love what you saw. I'm Warren, and I will see you guys in our next video.